The Zephyrian Academy's containment protocols had never failed before. Not in the 300 cycles since the institution began housing apex predators for xenobiology studies. The massive Kythera, a creature resembling a cross between a saber-toothed tiger and a rhinoceros, with scales that could deflect plasma bolts, had been securely chained in the center of Lecture Hall Gamma 7 for the entire semester. Adnan had grown used to the creature's presence during Professor Veltar's comparative biology classes, while his fellow students, a mix of insectoid Zephyrians, crystalline Quartzians, and gaseous nebuloids, maintained respectful distances from the sleeping beast. The human exchange student found himself oddly fascinated by it. There was something in the Kythera's amber eyes that reminded him of his childhood dog back on Earth. Today we shall observe the metabolic processes of a Class 9 predator during its active cycle, Professor Veltar announced, her forearms manipulating holographic displays. Note how the neural pathways fire in sequence when the containment field flickered, then died completely. Chaos erupted as 3 tons of apex predator stretched to its full height, chains snapping like twigs. The Kythera's roar shook the reinforced walls, causing several Quartzian students to crack in terror. Emergency alarms blared as students scrambled for the exits in a panic of clicking chitin, ringing crystal, and whooshing gas. Nehal, a Zephyrian girl who had befriended Adnan despite her species' natural wariness of mammals, grabbed his arm with 2 of her forehands. "Adnan, we must evacuate immediately. That creature will slaughter anything that moves." But Adnan didn't move. While every instinct screamed at his classmates to flee, something deeper held him in place. The Kythera wasn't attacking. It stood in the center of the lecture hall, head swiveling, nostrils flaring. Its massive form trembled, not with rage, but with something Adnan recognized from countless nature documentaries. Fear. "It's scared," Adnan said quietly, taking a step toward the creature. "Are you suffering from oxygen deprivation?" Professor Veltar hissed from behind an overturned desk. "That is a Class 9 predator. It has killed 17 sentient beings in the wild." "No," Adnan said, his voice growing stronger. "Look at its posture, the tail position, the ear placement. This isn't aggression, it's confusion and fear." The Kythera's massive head turned toward him, amber eyes meeting brown. For a moment that stretched like eternity, human and apex predator regarded each other. Adnan slowly lowered himself to the floor, sitting cross-legged as he had during meditation sessions back home. "Adnan, please," Nehal whispered from the doorway, her compound eyes wide with terror. "It will tear you apart." Instead, the Kythera padded closer, each footstep causing minor seismic tremors in the floor. Its massive head, easily the size of Adnan's torso, lowered until it was level with his face. The creature's breathing was rapid, panicked. "Hey there, big guy," Adnan murmured in the same tone he'd used with frightened animals throughout his childhood. "I know this place is scary. All these strange smells, strange sounds. You just want to go home, don't you?" The Kythera's breathing began to slow. "Impossible," Professor Veltar breathed. The species shows no capacity for interspecies bonding. Their neural structure lacks the necessary. "Maybe you've been looking at the wrong neural structures," Adnan said softly, never breaking eye contact with the massive predator. "Maybe you've been studying them like specimens instead of individuals." Security forces had arrived, their plasma rifles trained on the Kythera, but they hesitated as they witnessed the impossible scene. The creature that had terrorized entire star systems was now lowering itself to the floor, its massive bulk settling beside the small human student. With movements that defied its size, the Kythera gently rested its enormous head against Adnan's shoulder. The rumble that emerged from its chest wasn't a growl, it was a purr that resonated through the reinforced floor. "In 3 centuries of xenobiological study," Professor Veltar said shakily, "we have never witnessed such behavior." Nehal approached cautiously, her forearms spread for balance. "How did you know it wouldn't attack?" Adnan gently stroked the scaled hide behind the Kythera's massive ear, earning another contented rumble. "Back on Earth, we learned something important about predators. The most dangerous ones are usually just scared, confused, or protecting something. This guy has been trapped in a lecture hall for months, surrounded by species he's never encountered, being poked and prodded and studied. Wouldn't you be terrified?" "But the reports," Security Chief Krexnol clicked through his translator. "This creature has killed In the wild, protecting its territory, Adnan interrupted. Has anyone ever tried simply talking to one, treating it like an individual instead of a specimen? The Kithara shifted, its bulk pressing more firmly against Adnan's side. One massive paw, armed with claws that could rend metal, gently rested on the human's leg with surprising delicacy. Professor Veltar's four eyes blinked in rapid succession, her species equivalent of deep thought. The xenobiological implications are staggering. If apex predators can form interspecies bonds, our entire understanding of galactic ecosystems would need revision. Maybe, Adnan said, continuing his gentle stroking. The galaxy's been looking at this all wrong. Maybe instead of studying creatures, we should try understanding them. Maybe instead of containment, we should try communication. The Kithara's purring intensified, and slowly, cautiously, other students began to return to the lecture hall. Nihal was the first to approach, extending one delicate hand toward the massive creature. The Kithara's nose twitched, then gently nudged her palm. Remarkable, she whispered. Security Chief Krexnall lowered his weapon. The human approach to interspecies relations is unconventional. That's humans for you. Adnan smiled, scratching behind the Kithara's massive ear as it settled more comfortably beside him. We've got this weird habit of making friends with everything that doesn't immediately try to eat us. And sometimes even the ones that do. As the emergency sirens finally fell silent, the lecture hall filled with an odd peace. Students and faculty gathered at a respectful distance, watching in amazement as the galaxy's most feared predator dozed contentedly beside a human exchange student who had dared to see fear instead of fury, loneliness instead of malice. Perhaps, they thought, there was more to learn from humans than they had initially believed.